strategic support is, okay, again, you do that exercise, right? You're looking at, okay, here are all the things that I do.
Mhm.
Of those things that I would like to then delegate to someone who fits best. Is it an EA, meaning it's administrative in nature, right? Is it something that's critical to the operations of my business? Okay, I may need an operations manager. So just looking at not only the what, right? The what it is you
Right.
need to, but the why and how it impacts your business. And
Yeah.
so that's at a high level of strategic
Mhm.
sourcing,
Yeah.
because you want to make sure that, again, yes, you are hiring somebody to help you, but you want to make sure it's the correct position or the correct role.
Hi there, and welcome to the HR podcast. This is Linda Misegadis
and Cyndi Manuel, and we'll be your co-hosts. After spending years working in and with HR, we thought, why not start a podcast to support the important HR community? We believe the way things have always been done isn't necessarily what's going to work in the future. So we're diving into topics that support HR and working women as they navigate the future of work. We're talking about professional growth and also how we can support each other as human beings.
We can't wait to bring you insights from HR experts, thought leaders, and inspiring women who are making a real difference in their organization and communities. They'll share their journeys and tips on balancing work and life in a better way. We're excited to learn alongside you and hope you'll pick up some great takeaways, from tips and tricks to worksheets that you can actually use in your daily life. So grab your favorite beverage
or lace up your walking shoes and join us for the HR Her Resources podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Her Resources podcast. I'm here in the studio with my magnificent co-host, Cyndi Manuel. How are you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love all the adjectives you come up with, so
I know,
thank you for that.
I need to create like a little cheat sheet list for myself, because I'm always trying to think about before the show, like, what's one I haven't used? So
That's hilarious.
yeah. Are you enjoying this ridiculously hot weather?
Enjoying would be a strong word. We're taking the dog for walks at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
If that's any indication. And that's like the perfect time of day. We used to do it after dinner, but now we do it at 6:30 in the morning.
I think last night it was still 90 degrees at 8 o'clock or something. I mean, that's just so uncommon for us in Colorado.
It's crazy.
I know,
Wow.
it is. I was
Yeah.
just in Boston and the weather was great. I'm like, this is nice. I don't want to go back to that.
It's
to
just
Denver.
flip-flopped.
Yeah.
What the heck?
This is crazy at home, but well, we are super excited to have in the studio with us today our special guest, Tammala Garner. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who Tammala is, and we'll talk about what our topic is. So Tammala is actually a seasoned entrepreneur, having founded 3 successful businesses, and she currently serves as the chief of staff. She's the driving force behind Virtually at Your Service, where she helps founders and executives align their operations with the right support staff to scale sustainably and sanely. I love that part, the sanely. So, but what makes Tammala the perfect voice for this conversation is her deep understanding of what it actually takes to build a business without burning out. She's not just about hiring help, she's about building strategic partnerships that transform how founders lead. And here's a fun fact just to warm things up. When she's not streamlining workflows or empowering leadership teams, she's known to host impromptu dance breaks to keep her energy flowing, which is just a reminder that joy and productivity can absolutely coexist. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you,
Hi,
ladies.
Tam.
Happy to be
Good to see
here.
you.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see your
gosh.
faces.
It's our pleasure. So tell us, Tam, where are you actually located? What's the weather like in your part of the world?
It's funny you asked, because I was about to chime in and be like, oh, wow, it sounds like you guys are in Texas. I was about to ask you.
No, we're in Colorado, which you do not expect. This is unusually hot weather for us in Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you Houston, Tam?
Yes.
Oh,
and so
humid.
It's a little blazy here. It's a little hot, a little humid.
Okay.
And I'm a native, and I've never gotten used to it. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the in-between seasons, like
Yes.
spring and fall.
Mhm.
Love
Me
those.
too. Me too. Yeah,
Love
for
them.
sure.
Yeah.
But the extreme heat and the extreme cold,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
My body's like,
I could do without
so you want to
that.
move, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that humidity in Houston is no joke. I mean, I've been there many times and I'm just like, holy cow, it literally feels like a cloud in the air.
Yeah.
Like
Like a
walking
blanket.
into, it's thick. That is some
Yes.
crazy
It
humidity.
like blankets you
Yes.
in an unwanted way.
Right.
Not in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not cozy. It's not cozy.
No, definitely not. That is for sure. Well, we're excited about what we're going to be talking about today on the
Same.
podcast. We want to talk about why founders need to stop doing it all and how the right support staff can transform their business. And I know this is near and dear to Cyndi's heart as well, because she also is an entrepreneur and thinking about how you do that. And before we jump in with Tam,
Yeah.
I just wanted to share with a couple of things that why so many women founders try to do everything. Because I'm sure if there were some studies out there, and there probably are, we would find that there's a distinct difference between the two. So, according to the Women in the Workplace report by McKinsey, senior women leaders report significantly higher rates of burnout, chronic stress, and exhaustion compared to their male counterparts. And a Forbes article highlights that while most female founders enjoy their entrepreneurial journey, they face unique stressors and often struggle to find sustainable ways to work differently. And a Harvard Business Review found that more than half of women leaders managing teams feel burned out often or almost always, with nearly 40% considering leaving their roles due to these pressures. So it kind of supports that burnout myth that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
That if I don't do it, it won't get done right? Because that's a problem we women sometimes deal with. So
Yeah.
yeah,
For
no,
woman complex.
right? It's really
Yeah.
crazy. So talk a little bit maybe about why do you think that so many women founders try to do everything, Tam?
I liken it to it's the maternal nature that we have, right? Like we
Mhm.
want to take care of everything. We want to make sure everybody's happy. We want to make sure everything's running smoothly, and we just, you know, self impose these things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we can take on the world, and we're wearing all these hats, and we're juggling. All the balls are flying in the air, and we're doing well. And it's like, oh, see, we can do this. Doesn't
Right.
mean you should, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's the component where it's like, yes, you can,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And that's where that burnout comes in. 40% is staggering. I just
Right.
want to point that out. Like
Mhm.
that's staggering.
I know when I looked
Yeah.
at that
Wow.
number, I thought the same thing. And you do see that so often. I hear so much more about burnout. And Cyndi and I have talked about this in the past around the idea that because I was arguing, well, it doesn't feel like the work has really changed. And so I don't know, like, is burnout just the new buzzword? And Cyndi corrected me in saying that no, it's not so much that the work has changed. It's about the amount, it's the stimulus, it's the constant, it's the never really being able to disconnect. And so,
Unplug.
yeah, while the work is still the work, it's not like all of a sudden the work dramatically changed. What has changed is the environments in which we're working in
Yes.
today and figuring out how do we find that balance. And I do think women do struggle, innately to find that balance. And you're right, it probably
Yeah.
is linked to that maternal instinct. So,
And one thing I would add, if I could, here is, in our community, we have a lot of HR folks, we have a lot of leaders. One of the things that I would suggest, and you might suggest this too, Tam, is to sit down if you're a woman or anybody who's just feeling overstimulated and just kind of stressed out, burnt out,
yeah.
whatever term you want to use, but and just start writing down, like, what are the things that I do every day? And then next
Yeah.
to that, write down, is this something somebody else could do for me? Is this
That's
something I enjoy
yes.
doing?
Yes,
You
that's an
know,
exercise that I run through with all of my founders.
really
Yes,
awesome. I
yes.
think that's great, Tam.
Yeah.
Because I call it the delegation trap, where,
Yes.
it's like, oh, I have all these things and I would really like some help with this, but you got to let it go. And so when
Yeah.
you write
Yes.
it down, right, it becomes real because you're like, oh man, you get to quantify
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
what you're taking on that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then you know what I mean? It kind of also helps, in my opinion, it helps you to let it go because
Mm.
you see
Yeah.
it and you're like, it makes your brain go, oh wait, this is too much.
Yeah.
And what
Whereas
are
in
you
it,
not focusing on because you're focused on
exactly
those
because you're
things,
focusing
right?
on those things
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
are, a time suck, to
that's
put it
right.
bluntly. Like that's because that's what it's doing, right? It's taking away from
Absolutely.
the period or the time that you could be using towards growing your business, working on those critical items, or I mean, even doing something personal, right? Like
Right.
going to get your nails
Which you need
done.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Like
No, it's
there's a
true.
Yeah.
balance. There's a
Yeah.
Right.
balance. You
You got to
need to
do
even
something for yourself sometimes to
yes,
get out of
yes.
Yeah.
that
Go get that
mindset.
massage. Go take a walk. Like
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, because it's different for everybody, right? But being
Sure.
able to have the time to do it, that's the
That's
most.
true.
And then that also prevents burnout, right? Because you feel
Yeah.
fulfilled and you feel balanced. So
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Really
that's
good
really good.
point.
Yeah, I like that for
Mhm.
sure. Well, and what made you kind of think about all of this, Tam? Like, was you were coming up with this and just really thinking about the fact that, and I'm sure that it happens even more. Like, there are so many women who are leaving the workforce to go into
yes.
business for themselves. They're kind of tired of the rat race of corporate America, and they're trying to find that. Why is this such a passion for you? Clearly it's very near and dear because this is not your first rodeo with what you're doing
Yeah.
now. So
That's cool.
My why was time spent with my family, right? Like I'm watching my kids grow up. Yes, we made it to all of their games. We did all the things, but I didn't, I felt like I was missing out on like just those small moments,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where it's
Those
like,
are the
oh, I get
important
to,
ones.
yeah, like I get to sit and watch you color, or I
Yeah.
get to,
Yeah.
we can go outside and play with chalk. Or, I mean, just those little things. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like,
Mhm.
and why don't I have time for this? Oh,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm doing all of this stuff. That's where the exercise came. Let me write this out. Let
Yeah.
me, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, let me do a flow chart.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a
Okay,
big
here's
fan of Post-its on a
yes.
whiteboard and like
And that's
brainstorming that way.
exactly
Yes.
like brainstorm. Okay, here's all the things that I do for whatever, in the various buckets of life, right? And what is it that I can let go of and trust someone else to do? What are
Mhm.
the things that I have to keep doing? Meaning because I either enjoy them or it's just critical to what I'm doing. And when you start to focus in on that, you go, oh, okay. And then you figure out some of this stuff is like, I shouldn't even be doing this, and I shouldn't delegate this to anyone because it shouldn't be happening. Like
Yeah.
you literally get
Mm.
into it.
Good
And then,
point.
yes, because there are a lot of, I call it junk. There's a lot of junk in
Yeah.
our daily that we don't realize is, it's not productive. It's not
It's a
a good
time
use of your
suck.
time.
Yeah.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
just
It is so
Yeah.
true.
whiteboarding that out, and saying, okay, man, I got to get rid of this, and okay, I'm going to keep this, and oh, this is
Yeah.
something someone else can do.
Yeah. I
And,
like
One
and
more
I
that.
don't,
thing,
go ahead. Mhm.
and maybe Tam, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm noticing this. Is it's not even women being burnt out from corporate America, I think, or just the corporate world.
Mhm.
I think women are becoming more entrepreneurial. And I think in some instances, they're having to become more entrepreneurial
Yes.
Good
because of
point, Cyndi.
things
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of job loss right now.
Yes.
There's a lot of change in the way,
Yes.
companies are running and things like that just because of what they've had to sort of shift to very quickly.
Right.
So I think there's a lot more desire to get out there and maybe, I'm going to
Yeah.
start doing
Do it for
my
yourself.
own thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do what the entrepreneurial job that you're currently doing, Tam?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. So I've always done it, right? I've always done it in the background. The pandemic and the way that I saw work shifting is what like completely kicked me out, right? Like,
Okay.
and I said, okay, this is it. I'm taking the leap. I'm not going to, I'm not going to have as I say, the W-2 and the consultant's business. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
have the safety net. I'm just going to jump and see what happens, right? I have to trust myself and know that I got this. But when I saw that in particular, how working from home, because there's always been people that work from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yep.
There are certain industries where they have that. But when, the entire world works from home,
Yeah.
then you start to see where there's that bleed over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can go to an office 8 to 5, I'm done. Besides the commute time, but I'm done after 5, right? But when I work from home, I can work 12 hours. I can work 16 hours. It's the encroaching upon your pride. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like there's no such thing as personal and business time anymore because you're always connected. And then you start to feel like you have to be connected, right? Especially, I find like as women, because that's that nurturing thing. It's like, oh, you don't want to let anybody down. You don't want to be the person on your team that's not holding your weight or pulling your weight. You know what I mean? You start to do all these things in your head and you get this cycle of insanity where where you're trying to be all to everyone at all times. And I was just like, okay, I'm off of this.
Yeah.
I'm off of this hamster wheel.
What do you mean when you talk about strategic support versus just hiring help? Because, there's a big difference, right? Because you could hire help and it doesn't help you one bit. And sometimes it makes you more stressed than you were to begin with. And so talk about what you mean by strategic support.
So from strategic support is, okay, again, you do that exercise, right? You're looking at, okay, here are all the things that I do. Of those things that I would like to then delegate to someone who fits best. Is it an EA, meaning it's administrative in nature, right? Is it something that's critical to the operations of my business? Okay, I may need an operations manager. So just looking at not only the what, right? The what it is you need to, but the why and how it impacts your business.
Yeah.
And so that's, at a high level of strategic sourcing.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure that, again, yes, you are hiring somebody to help you, but you want to make sure it's the correct position or the correct role. And to be honest, oftentimes an EA and or chief of staff, they're going to come in and they're going to be able to plug in and wherever you need them, right? But it also depends on your business size. But for entrepreneurs that are relatively like small, medium, they could pull in an EA or a chief of staff and they could fill in several situations.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They can plug them into several parts of their business, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you're larger, then you may need both, right? You may need an operations manager and you need an EA.
Right.
But just being very intentional on the placement and who you're pulling in, for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I would add to that too that I have found in my business is I might think, okay, I need to bring somebody on to help me with some of the administrative tasks that number one, I shouldn't be doing. And number two, I'm probably not the best person to do those.
Right.
But then what I've learned is when I bring someone on, I look at them as a whole, not the tasks that they're going to do. Right. But okay, this person really, this person was a mom. So this person is, very organized. This person has really great insight. This person is very good at like playing devil's advocate with me. And so they can bring in so much more than, just the tasks. It's like that whole, individual. And if you can give them the room and the space, then, they can become just a key person on your team as well.
A really good
I'm
point.
glad you said that. Because that is something that I impress upon with my founders is, it's not about task completion. Yes, that's a part of it, but you want to make sure that person is aligned like with your goals, your values, your leadership style. And you also want someone who is going to anticipate your needs, right? Before you even voice them. That's when you know.
Huge.
That's when you know you've hit that sweet spot and you guys are going to soar at that point, right?
Yeah.
Now there is some well, we could talk about that later, but there's some work behind getting to that because it's not magical, right? It's not like this person's going to come off the street and they're going to be able to read your mind from day one.
Right.
No, but there's some exercises and some things that we can do to get you guys to that point.
I like that.
I'm
but the
really
alignment
interested in
piece-
hearing about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The alignment piece is that's the first step, right? When you're actually going through and you're doing your short list and you're interviewing, you want to make sure that they align and speak to you, right?
That's a great
you
point.
are. And then you can get them to the point where they can think for you, essentially. That's what I like to say.
You do see
Pretty
that.
awesome.
Yeah, no, you see that with really strong executive assistants or chiefs of staff, where you will notice that they can anticipate the needs. They get to know their that person well enough to be able to sort through and kind of filter out the white noise and make sure that the important things are getting through. And then they can handle all of the white noise because that's usually what we get caught up in, right? Is all of the white noise, and that's what drags you down and distracts you from the important things around that. So
that's exactly correct.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. Well, and Cyndi, real quick, I was just going to add, just kind of like feeding into our conversation here a little bit, and this is where hopefully this leads into Tam sharing with us some of those great ideas around how you create that alignment. But it's that mind shift or mindset shift, right, of letting go to level up, and so like thinking about delegation being leadership and not weakness. I know that's something I've struggled with throughout my life, is that if I delegate, and one, it feels weird to me to ask somebody else to do something for me, and so I feel like, oh well, I could do it myself, so you don't really need to do it for me. But the Stress and Burnout Resource Hub emphasizes that burnout isn't just physical; it's emotional and mental, and it includes some curated TED Talks and guides on how to cope with job stress and building resilience. And SHRM Research cited in a recent email showing that 1 in 3 employees say their job negatively impacts their mental health, calling it a burnout epidemic. And so we see that that's out there for sure. So give us some tips on hiring that right support staff so that you can make sure that you've got that alignment.
Yes. So again, it goes back to, do we align from a value mindset, right? Are we motivated the same way? That's one, right? You also, communication style, that's a big one. That's huge. Do they get you? And not only you, do they get your vision, your mission, and what you're doing with your business? Do they get it? Do they take initiative? Like, are you going to be someone that's going to come in and again kind of help me pull those things out? Because oftentimes as a founder, again, you have all this stuff swirling and you're trying to get your bearings and say, okay, hey, this is the stuff that I need to focus on. This is the stuff that I don't need to focus on.
Right.
Okay, cool. But those things that you don't need to focus on, is someone going to come in and solve that for you and keep that going? And then also the things that you do need to focus on, you need a thought partner often, right?
That's right.
In your EA and your chief of staff both can do that. Chief of staffs, I think they have a knack for it. And it's not to say that EAs don't, but like that's the fiber of a chief of staff. That's a person who gets your vision and they execute on your behalf. So just a little difference between a chief of staff and a EA. But yeah, just you want to make sure that when you're vetting, right, which one, that would be my job, right? So I can help you do that. But if you're going on this alone, just making, again, values, communication, are they going to take the initiative?
Right.
Do they get my mission?
Yes.
There's another one. Like, you guys are HR background, so you know how you have asked the behavioral based questions. You can kind of pull that out, which I mean, in my experience, those can be hit or miss. But if you combine all, right, then you can pull out whether or not this is a candidate that's going to align with you. But you just want to, those behavioral based questions just gives you knowledge of, okay, they've done this before, right?
Yeah.
And they can give you examples that help you to understand if there's an alignment there.
That makes sense.
As far as your type of business, right, or your industry. So
Yeah.
that's where those come into play. Did I answer the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I think that's really good. And one thing I would add to that on the other side, right? If you're a leader, invest the time to make sure that your team knows what your values are, what your goals are.
Yes.
Be transparent about what the business is looking like. Where are there areas that might be struggling? Where are there areas that are doing really well? Ask for their input. I think the more you can invest some time, at least on the front end, and then on a consistent basis there, moving forward, what I have experienced is, people become as bought into your goal and your business as you are.
Yeah.
So, and then they come up with those great questions and they gain that intuition and they're out there talking when you're not even around about your business. And how great things are. And they're bringing you ideas. I mean, I had an intern, Lauren Bannis, who would bring me ideas and ask me great questions and being instrumental in my business. And now is doing what I do. So, and then my executive assistant, same thing. She's always asking me really good questions that make me stop and think. But it's because she understands the business and the values, Tam, back to what you were saying.
And I think that's a very critical, if not the most important thing when you're strategically staffing, is making sure people get it. And again, piggybacking on what you're saying, taking the time on the front end to make sure they get it. And it's the same thing when you're onboarding folks. You got to give context, right? You have to tell them, okay, hey, not only is this what I need, but this is why I need it. And, here are some examples. And I tell founders, okay, you get people to say, oh, I don't have enough time for that. You expect someone to come in and they're flying out of the gate. Well, that can happen, but there's some work that you have to do, right? So you can, you could do Loom videos, you could do SOPs or standard operating procedures, things like that, where you can hand over documentation for someone to start with and get the ball rolling, right? And start out of the gate running. You can do that, but you have to take that time to build those out for folks.
Well, and that kind of leads back to what you were saying there, Tam, in thinking about like taking that, what both you and Cyndi were describing as doing that inventory of things, because I think you're right. Sometimes you hire someone and you just are like, okay, go
do the thing,
conquer, right? And they're like, okay, I have no idea what to do here. And then it's not successful. There's a disconnect there. So really kind of taking that time that if you're going to bring someone in to help is to, as you're doing that inventory, also maybe you take that few minutes. I mean, AI is such a great tool for this sort of stuff. Take the moment to run it through and create a quick SOP that you can hand over to someone, maybe even throw all your ideas into it that you're thinking about and have it kind of formulate a little bit of, here's a plan to get us started. Because, if you want to be successful, to your point, you have to know what it is that you're asking them to do. You can't just tell them to do it. So
to do it. You gotta be able to communicate that.
Their success becomes your success.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Such a good
And I mean,
point.
it's like any relationship. What you put in is what you're going to get out.
So true.
That is so true.
At the Delta Principle, we are transforming the way you experience change. Have you ever experienced an organizational change where your employees pushed back because it was too much, too fast, or they just didn't understand why they couldn't do things the way they've always done them? What about where communication was non-existent or unorganized, with important updates getting lost in the shuffle, leaving people confused? And have you ever experienced change where morale was at an all-time low because the change felt overwhelming and not aligned with your organization's culture? If you are being asked to lead an important organizational change, especially if you're new to leading change, or if you're just feeling overwhelmed, the Delta Principle is here to support you. We work closely with you as a trusted partner, co-creating real-world solutions to address your unique challenges. and we equip you and your organization for future success. Are you gearing up for your next transformation journey or exploring ways to strengthen your change management skills? Then let's connect. This year, we're thrilled to introduce Leading Change, a training designed for leaders driving organizational initiatives, and Navigating Change, a training tailored to empower teams and adapting to change with confidence. Our coaching and training sessions are fully customizable to meet your organization's unique needs. Reach out today to see how we can partner with you to make your next change a success. You can find us on LinkedIn or by emailing us at info@thedeltaprinciple.com.
What are some things for people to avoid? Like, what mistakes happen?
Yes.
Because sometimes you can get caught up too much in the personality, right? You're like, oh my God, I could
Yes.
hang out with this person
Yes.
all the time. Like they become like they're your BFF. And we all know that
Yes.
oftentimes working with your best friend is not always it doesn't always work, right? And so because you're great friends, but being colleagues
it's like,
can be
I
tough.
love you.
Yeah,
This is
but
not working.
yeah. So talk a little bit about, because I can imagine, especially with an EA or a chief of staff who really do have to understand and know you really well, that dynamic has you've still got to be able to draw a line, right, between the
You do.
two. So what are some mistakes
You do.
that people need to avoid?
To your point, hiring for personality over skill set.
Yeah.
You can, I always say, like, one of the best EAs that I've ever worked with, especially like in a corporate environment, she was super prickly, super. But it's almost like you came to love that about her, because you knew whatever you gave her, whatever you said, hey, please take this. Not only was she going to take it and be successful, she's going to turn it into something that you didn't even think about. And you're going to be like,
that.
whoa, you know what I mean? Like, she was dynamic. But people would often be like, oh, but she's so prickly. But it's like, okay, she's just very, like, straightforward. You know what I mean? It's not like she is, she just was very frank, like, and she's very succinct in how she did. Like, some people, it's like, oh, but she's not smiling, or she's not, talking to me for 5 minutes about, around the water cooler. It's like, no, she's just about business. She's doing her job, right? So again, not falling into that personality trap. That's a good one. Like, a good one.
I think something else. Oh, I'm sorry, Tam. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to throw something in there really quick because you made me think about this. I think sometimes it's not as much the personality as what is the DNA of this role, right? So you just mentioned, Tam, like, this person is going to get stuff done. They are going to be succinct. They're going to be, consistent. Like, what is the DNA of this role that you're looking at? Skills can be taught, but you need somebody to come in with the right sort of mindset and, way of approaching the work as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that made me think about.
That's good, because again, the personality. No, I'm not saying hire someone and you're like, oh my God,
total jerk.
I would never hang out with this person if I didn't have to. Yeah.
I'm not saying hire them or anything.
Right.
Good Lord. I'm just saying, don't get caught up in, oh my God, we could go to, shopping together. We could go have drinks together. And then, you're still looking at this work.
Right. Exactly.
The work needs to be done.
It's not getting done, or you have to hold this person's hand or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just making sure that you keep the skill set, the DNA, like you said, of the position in the forefront.
Yep.
All the other things are nice to haves, right? But if you have someone that's coming in, has the right mindset, again, yes, you can teach them things, you can coach them on things, but they have the right skill set to begin with and the right mindset, then that's where you want to go. That's because you can foster the relationship. That part can grow. You can, teach them other things. You can coach them on your business, right? You can improve upon, as opposed to you're trying to, build a bear, if you will.
Yeah, I like
Don't do that.
No, that is so true. What advice do you give your clients as they're thinking about, so how do you get them comfortable with the idea of delegating? So now they've done this worksheet, and kind of
Right,
spelled out all the things that they're like, okay, these are the things that I need help with.
right.
They've defined, what those responsibilities are going to look like. Now, how do
Hmm.
you coach them to hire the person and then actually trust the person to do the work? So,
Good
what
question.
advice do you give them around that?
Okay, so let's say we're shortlisted, right? We have two
Mhm.
people. You pull the trigger. You say, okay, hey, I want to go with candidate A. All right. So we already talked about that pre-work. So how we talked about the fact that okay, do some loan videos, do some SOPs, whatever you need to
Yeah.
do to get your make your thinking visible
Mhm.
and allow the
Mm,
person to
I
understand
like
what it
that.
is that you need and how to approach it, right? So we have this part. Then we'll do like, okay, here's a week one check in, right? Then we'll
Okay.
do about a 30-day check in, and then we'll do a 90. And at
Okay.
those check ins, it's okay, hey, within the first week, right, you want to ensure that they have all the tools that they need. And you want to give them time to sit with those tools, soak them in, ask questions, all the
Yeah.
things, right? And so after that first week, now we're off to the races. So it's not like
Mhm.
day one, they're not going to come in solving problems or
Right.
fixing things or doing the work. You got to let them, um, ingest it. You got to
Yeah.
let them
Hmm.
process it and then come back to you
Yeah.
with any questions or say, they may say, hey, you know what? I noticed this is how you would like for this to be done,
Mhm.
but I think it should be done this way.
Okay.
Right. So then
Yeah.
they're showing that initiative to you and
Right.
you can either
Awesome.
say, yes, let's try it your way or
Mhm.
say, no, can we do it my way first or whatever you feel. Right. But
Sure.
just making sure that you're open to change,
Yeah.
right? You're open to suggestions
Right.
and
Hmm.
that you empower that person. That's
I
another
love that.
important. You got to
Yeah.
empower people to do their job. You
Yeah.
can't be the bottleneck. You can't be, the blocker. You can't do any of those things in order for it to be successful. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to be successful, you can't be those things, right?
Yeah.
So that's your week one. And so then 30 days, this is the trial period. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is, okay, now that we've understood what it is that you need, we've fine tuned, we've made some changes or whatever we've done to your SOPs and
Mhm.
your the way that you've given over the information. Now this is where they're actually applying it and
Okay.
doing the work, right?
Okay.
And so here's the period where I'm like, okay, I really need you to be open.
Yeah.
I really need you to hold any sort of judgment.
Mhm.
This is the learning curve,
Okay.
right? This is where you give that person the space to do the job that you're asking them to do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then when you do your weekly, because within those 30 days, I would like for them to do weekly check ins. You do
Right.
your weekly check ins. Those are the times where you say, hey, okay, this is going great. This works. This is awesome. Do more of
Mhm.
this. Okay, here are some of the things where I'd like to make adjustments. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And you can even ask them, hey, how would you want to adjust this? Or,
Right.
I have some ideas of how I think, because you also have to respect the fact that this person does work how they do work, right? They work how they
That's
work.
true. Yeah.
And they may not work like you, but you may
Yeah.
be able to find common ground. So it's a conversation more
Yeah.
so than this authoritative type of a conversation.
Yeah.
This is, we're working together. Okay, how do we make this work?
It's a
Because we
two-way
want,
conversation.
Mhm.
yes, we both want to
Yes.
Yes.
be successful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so you're
Yeah.
doing that for 30 days. And so then we'll check in with you again.
Okay.
And this is where we say, okay, how's it going?
Yeah.
What are your plus deltas, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I say, well, if there's some deltas, right? Because inevitably there will be,
Sure.
okay, how can I assist you I'll first say, is this a deal breaker?
Mhm.
And if this is not a deal breaker, okay, how can I support you to get past this or to,
Yeah.
fix this or whatever it is? Because it depends on what the delta is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's some coaching we may do. Because let's just say it's a systems thing. Well,
Mhm.
this person's not really picking up on the applications that we
Yeah.
use. Okay, cool. Well, we can do some training on our end to help support that and facilitate that person learning the
Yeah.
systems, right?
I like
So,
that.
however we can support, we also step in and support with that. And then for the next 60 days, you're doing the same thing because,
Mhm.
again, we've been making adjustments and, iterating on existing and saying, hey, we want to do this, we want to do that. And so then for those 60 days, this is where we're like, all right, this is where the rubber meets the road. Because by the 90-day mark, you're going to know whether or not this is working.
That's true.
And I find that those clients who follow that and allow me to support and my staff to support if need be, they're successful.
I like
You
it.
just described a really great HR process.
I was thinking the same thing, Cyndi. I was like, I hope all of our HR people are out there thinking about, because I was thinking about, like, for managers and bringing on, even onboarding employees, how often do you just,
it's a great process.
Just hire somebody and then you're like, okay. And in today's remote world, it's even harder, right? Because you can't just walk down to their desk and check in. And they can't walk down to your office and check in with you. So I totally agree, Cyndi. So I was listening to Tam talk about, I hope our HR people are taking note of this.
You have to be intentional.
Yes, I love it.
You have to be intentional because, again, this is us. This is all of us now. We're remote. We're not, rarely are you, and I'm not saying that there's no office folks, but it's just a different approach when it's 100% remote, right? Because like you say, you don't have that ability. Hey, let me pop into your office. Hey, let's go grab a coffee and talk. You don't have that.
You can't just sit with the person, right? Have them sort of like be with you all day to start to learn the business and what you're looking for and things like that. Yeah,
absolutely.
And so you have to take a different approach. And I mean, to me, it's not different in it's the same idea, right? It's the same, like, oh, let's go grab a coffee. Let's come sit with me. It's that same premise. It's just a different application, right?
Yeah,
it's okay. Let's schedule this Teams meeting and we'll sit. Or like I love to do Pomodoro sessions. My chief growth officer brought that online. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. Like,
describe what that is.
Yeah.
So a Pomodoro session, like we literally get on a Teams or a Zoom meeting with each other, right? Sometimes, there'll be other people with us, but we may not be working directly with each other on something. We could be all working, but it's keeping each other accountable. And then, like, we say, okay, hey, let's take a 30-minute, or not a 30-minute, let's take a 10-minute break, go get a snack, go get water, or we can sit and we can kind of talk about nothing just to break it up. And then we go back into, you know what I mean? So you're holding each other accountable to get something done. And it's mainly like, I'm like, oh man, I really need to get, I don't know, I need to get some contracts out. I need to get some, follow-up done for clients. I need to do this, I need to do that. And she could be, I need to do this, I need to do that. Okay, cool. Let's be on with each other, hold each other accountable. I'll check in and say, hey, where are you on yours? And she'll ask me where I am on mine, things like that. And it also helps to build that community that you would normally have in an office.
I like that. Yeah. Because I was going to ask you, what advice would you give? Because as you pointed out, there we are in such a virtual environment these days. And I know this is something that I sometimes struggle with as well, is thinking about we're not making widgets, right? So I can't see that at the end of the week you made 100 widgets, and I know you did your job for the day, for the week, So I've got to figure out, how do I measure productivity, but also have you report that productivity in a way that I don't want you to feel micromanaged, but by the same way, I've got to see some type of output, right? So how do you recommend that? Like, what advice do you give around how to handle those situations?
Yes. So it basically kind of the same thing with the check-in, right? Once you get past the 90 days, right? You still want to do these check-ins. And so in these check-ins, so certain things you can quantify, right? Like if it's, hey, I need you to go book a flight for me. Well, obviously, that person did it because they booked the flight.
You hope anyway, at least when you get to the airport, right?
Well, see, no, for me, I'm going to look for that confirmation email. I'm like, okay, let me double check. Oh, okay, great, I got it. Okay, thanks. So, but no, it's just when you're trying to quantify or measure your ROI with a person where there's no real tangible thing to count or to see. It's you start to look at the value add.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You look at, okay, am I I hate to say it like this, but am I less stressed?
Yeah.
Am I bogged down or not by these tasks that I whiteboarded and said I don't want anymore? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you look at the cause and effect, right? Is it
Mhm.
positive? Okay, well then you know that person's doing their job,
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
like that.
If you're like, I have some leaders that say, "Hey, my calendar's out of control." Okay, well, is your calendar better? You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
simple things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you
Yeah.
making it to meetings on time? Are you
Do you
are
fill
you
a little
double
more
booked?
room in your
Do you
day?
feel
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
like those things.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
it
great way to put it. It's kind of
and it
those
can be kinda
intangibles, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are, "Oh, that's kinda trivial." Well, I mean, but it's not.
Oh, it's
No.
not.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not, like,
That's so true.
how do I you and a lot of it, you can almost do it with yourself, right? Do I
Right.
feel better? Am I lighter?
Yeah.
Do I have more time in my day? You
Right.
know what I
That's
mean? Like,
true. Maybe am I more
am I able to
present? Like,
focus?
can I be
Yes, that
present?
too.
And
Am I more present?
yeah. I like that.
Yes, and, like, for some people, do I feel more creative now that I'm not bogged down by
Sure.
this? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So whatever works for you, just do that check-in
I like
and
that for
start there
sure.
first,
Yeah.
right? And if there are more, if there are more like no's than yeses,
Mhm.
then that's when you need to step in and, okay, now I need to talk to this person
And
and we need to make some
reevaluate.
adjustments.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense. So, Tam, what is a quick checklist that you would have our listeners put together to determine, am I doing too much? Is it time for me to reach out to Tam and find myself an executive assistant or a chief of staff?
Yes.
Like, what are some of those checklist items that you would suggest people go through?
So I have a couple. So here's the first one, right? Goes back to that calendar. Is
Yeah.
my calendar packed with things that other people can do?
Okay.
Am I
That's
double
so
booked?
smart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Do I have focus time? Do I have work time?
Okay.
How
How am
do
I
I have
spending my time?
how
Yeah.
am I spending my time? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
So
I
that's
like that.
one.
Okay.
Take a look at that calendar.
Okay.
The second one is writing down those tasks. I would start with 5 because it can be overwhelming. So let's start with 5 and say, okay, these are the ones that are like, man, I have no energy to do these. I have no desire to do these.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, my level of expertise isn't needed for this.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
just hard, quick and dirty.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like
5.
it. Yeah.
It's a good
Don't
idea.
think too much about it.
Yep.
Don't
And
ruminate
that's
on
probably a
it.
good
None of
point.
that.
If you can quickly
If you can
kind of do
quickly,
that, don't overthink it. Just
Those are
don't
your top
put them
overthink it.
down,
5.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I like that.
Yes. Or as I like to say to myself, don't over engineer this, Tammala.
Yeah.
Keep it simple,
Girl,
sister.
keep
Oh,
it
that's
simple,
right.
sister.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And then what's another one? Looking at the things like in your existing team, right?
Mhm.
Are there things that your team is constantly telling you, hey, you know what? You're the bottleneck. You're the blocker.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are other areas where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
clearly I don't have time for this. I don't have energy for it. Like, something's wrong if I'm
Right.
creating this and it's consistently where it's me.
Yeah.
That's another indicator of something that you can delegate.
Okay. Now, in
Awesome.
that case, too, I would guess this would be, I'm thinking that's when, as Cyndi, you brought up empowering. Like, that's when, though, you've got to empower them because
Yes.
you could create an extra bottleneck if then you
Yes.
tell your EA or your chief of staff, they still have to run everything past you. Now
Yes.
you've pretty much eliminated the whole value that they bring. You've got to empower them to make decisions that you're comfortable with them making for you, right? And that's where that trusting relationship and all of that, what we were talking about earlier, right? That's where that all kind of comes into play if you want to have that.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
No, I really
Exactly.
like that. That's really good. What are 3 things that founders can do this week to start building a better support system for themselves?
Okay. So again, it goes back to those 5 things that you write down.
Yeah.
Right? Write those down. Okay. Identify one of them
Okay.
that you say, okay, I can delegate this.
All right. I like that.
Love
Okay.
that.
And then once you do that, then you call me.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what you do.
No,
That's what you
that
do.
is good.
And that's, you have a conversation about, okay, this is what it looks like. And from that list, we can help to say, okay, that's more EA, or,
Yeah.
oh no, you need a chief of staff, or,
Okay.
man, you really need an operation. You know what I mean? Like, we can get down and say, this is
This is
pinpointed
what you
what you
actually
need right
need.
now.
Yeah. I like
Mhm.
that. No, that's really
Yep.
good. So how do people get in touch with you, Tamala? Like if now, our listeners are out there and like, oh, I need
Yes.
to reach out. How do they do that?
Okay, so you can. I'm on LinkedIn, Tammala. So I'll spell it T like Texas. I don't know if you guys can see it on my background, but just in case it's cut off. It's T like Texas, AMMALA. Last name is Garner, Garner. You can also find us at virtually at your service, and service is acronym SRVC on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
You can also find us virtually at yourservice.com. Again,
Right.
service is the acronym SRVC.
I like it. No,
I
that
like
is
the name
great.
of your company. That's great.
Thank
Too.
you.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one for sure.
Yeah.
So I think this is great. I have so enjoyed getting to know you. It has been so nice having you come on and talk to everybody. And to Cyndi's point, I mean, there's some great takeaways for not just our founders,
Yes.
but our HR professionals and our managers
Yes.
out there who are listening too.
Yes.
I took some great tips and tricks away today that I'm going to
Yes.
use with a new hire I have starting on Monday. So,
Awesome.
you both gave me some really great
Oh my God, that's
ideas.
amazing.
Yeah,
Good
no, as I was
timing.
listening, I'm like, I'm gonna use
Yeah, I'm
this.
going to do
So,
that. Yes.
yep. So no, this has been
I'm
really
so glad.
helpful. Yes, me too. But I know Cyndi and I really enjoyed having you on, and to all of our
Yeah,
Yes,
listeners
thank
you,
you
out
Tam.
so
there.
much for having me.
Yes, thank you all. Please like and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. If you liked our episode, please share it with all of your friends and colleagues out there as well. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody on the next Her Resources podcast. So thanks, everyone.
Yay. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the HR Her Resources podcast. We're so happy to have you with us on this journey. Music and production by Logan Misegadis of LJM Productions. We'd also like to thank our intern, Lauren Banis, for creating our logo and supporting our social media postings. If you'd like to connect with Logan or Lauren, you can find their information in the show notes. If you found value in our discussion and think someone else might as well, please follow, subscribe to our LinkedIn, and share with a friend. Until our next episode, please take care and continue to support one another.